Hey everybody, welcome to this episode of Car Wash Magazine Live. I am your host, as always, Matt DeWolf, editor-in-chief of Car Wash Magazine. Hello everybody out there. Hey Tom Tilford, good to see you, buddy. Hey Alex, thanks for joining us today. We've got a big announcement for you coming. I'm going to roll that to our friends here in just a little bit, but until we get into that announcement, I have a couple of things I want to just share with you all. This week's been a big week. We've got Arkansas-based Splash on their way to opening their 12th location. Love Car Wash, which you may have been seeing kind of pop up all over the place. They continue their growth in this industry. We had a conversation with them just recently. We're going to have that for you on an upcoming episode of the podcast. And then Superstar, if I'm looking at my news here, we've got Superstar Car Wash opening their 36th location in Chula Vista in California. So that marks their 8th in California. So big growth out there for them. And then if you missed it last week, I did talk about the ICA Hall of Fame nominations process. That is open. You can get that information in that news article on carwashmagazine.com. If you have someone who you think is just incredible and has an incredible impact on this industry and the International Car Wash Association, you can nominate them for that highest honor. Now, there's one other thing that happened this week, and I'm trying to remember. We were going to announce it, and I think we sent it out last night in like a newsletter, and I think maybe it was on social, and Tyler and Blake maybe like talked about it a little bit, but here it is.
Hey, thanks, Matt. This is Eric Wulf with ICA. I'm happy to be here with Tyler and Blake from Talk Car Wash. And like you said, we've got a bit of an announcement to make today. Let me just give you a quick summary, then I'll turn it over to Tyler first. So, we've had a great time getting to know the Talk Car Wash guys, and there's lots of ladies and men involved in Talk Car Wash, but a lot of the work comes down to, and the organization comes down to Tyler and Blake, and we've had a ton of fun working with them over the last couple of years, getting to know them. We collaborated at the show this past November, and one of the things we came out of Las Vegas saying was, what else can we do to connect with that community? We're all in the same world here, this big car wash community, and certainly Tyler and Blake have done a great job with that Facebook group, where that is the go-to place for questions nowadays for the car wash industry. And so, we thought, what would a next level look like? And so we're happy to announce that we're going to start something called Talk Car Wash on the Road. And it's going to be powered by ICA, which means we're going to do some of the operational work. And Tyler and Blake are going to be sort of the tip of the spear on finding places where we can all gather on the road to go visit some car washes. I mean, these are basically road shows, but maybe with a couple of different twists. One is it's grassroots. This is going to come from the Talk Car Wash community, where people want to go and who they want to see. And number two, I think what's different is, this isn't going to be a sponsorship thing. We're going to sell and try to hard get folks to underwrite, so to speak. We're going to have it be open to operators, open to vendors. It's really about having a big, broad tent of the car wash community and involving everybody we can in this concept. So that being said, we'll get it kicked off sort of publicly at the show in May in Nashville. But speaking of Nashville, Tyler, since you're there, why don't you give us your perspective on what's going on and talk about it?
Yeah. So this brings back good memories for me. In 2000, I guess it was 12 or 13, I did one of my first road shows with a car wash association in the Southeast, and that is really what kind of got me hooked into car washing, seeing what other people were doing, learning best practices, seeing their equipment packages, site layouts, whatever it may be. It was just real interesting. And I visited, I don't know how many washes since then, it's a bunch. But I still enjoy it. You still get that same rush every time you're going to the sites. And when we were all kind of talking this idea over, something that's disappeared the last few years is really the big road shows, where everybody gets to go in, connect with those operators, give them feedback, look at their sites, pick up best practices. And we said, hey, we would like to do this through Talk Car Wash, be able to get some people together at a little event after, be able to share best practices, talk, and honestly, what we're here for, just to connect the car wash community to insight and advice from car washers around the world. That's our mission at Talk Car Wash, and this lives up to it. And we appreciate you guys working with us to make this happen.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're really excited to bring the people together. And, when me and Tyler go to these shows, and a lot of other operators as well, we visit car washes in these local areas. And when we're not at, trade shows, we're going in our free time into different markets and trying to find the best operations and our friends and colleagues, walking through their car washes and, going through a whole market and seeing, the best practices and best operations. And then the traveling in between is a great time to, share your thoughts and like, what did you learn? What were your takeaways? And kind of connect the dots that maybe top level operators do and kind of getting other people in their head, while visiting the car washes. So there's a strong learning experience and synergy that happens when we do this in unison.
Yeah, we've talked about this before, but something that's really, really important in our industry, especially, with what we've helped do with Talk Car Wash, is kind of kick down that barrier where people are open to sharing information. They're open to camaraderie, but just that general connection and having other people that you can lean on for advice. And I promise you, whatever you've got going on at your site, there's thousands of other people that have it going on and someone has solved the problem. And, Blake and I have been hearing this a lot, especially the last year, that they're getting answers faster on Talk Car Wash, connecting with other operators than they are reaching out to their vendors. And that's what we're here for, man, connecting people. That's a great feeling.
Well, Tyler and Blake, you all, again, have done an awesome job with the group, and I know it's so appreciated. Really, like all over the world, the feedback you're getting and the contributions you're getting from folks. So it's a great resource for people. We're happy to support bringing people back together and work with you two. I know Matt's going to probably drop in some kind of a link, or he'll give the website to everybody so they can go visit. But then when we get to the show in Nashville, people can stop by, and if you've got a wash or you've got a city you want to visit, or you want to put your site up for consideration on, hey, come and visit us. We won't do our first one probably till the second half of the year. We're thinking like third quarter, and then maybe we'll get to 2 next year. It's probably about as ambitious as we'll hope to be. But come stop by and see the Talk Car Wash guys at the Car Wash Show in May. And until then, Matt, thanks for having us.
Thank you, Matt.
Thanks, guys.
All right, there you have it, friends. That is the secret, or not so secret, announcement that was coming out of today's program. The latest collaboration with International Car Wash Association and Talk Car Wash. That is Talk Car Wash on the Road, powered by International Car Wash Association. So that's going to be super fun, because what do we all love to do most on vacation, if not go visit car washes? So people will understand. It'll be fine. I think it'll be fine. I do want to. This is my like PSA for the moment for today, friends. Before we get into some of the next things, if you have never led a car wash tour, please be kind to those who lead you, because there is nothing more difficult on this planet than trying to get 50 plus car wash people to stop looking at a car wash location to move on to the next one. I know this from experience. I've been scarred for life by that experience, but turns out blowing your whistle doesn't work. There's lots of coercion. So be kind to your tour guide, whoever that may be, on that first adventure with Talk Car Wash on the Road, powered by International Car Wash Association. We've got some awesome conversations coming up in the next few weeks for you guys. We've got a conversation with Spot AI, right, and Tanuj Taplial, what they're doing with video intelligence. That's going to be really fascinating. We've got a conversation coming up around menu design and simplifying that, and what you can be doing, and how that really fits into your entire business model. And then we've got some conversation coming up with Love Car Wash and the platform there and what they're doing. I mentioned them earlier in the program. And then today, we've got a little bit of a conversation from Mighty Wash. So Mighty Wash is another one of these groups growing like gangbusters. They are super pumped up, super excited about what they're doing in their region. So we're going to share a little bit of that story now. We're going to focus this little bit of conversation around what they do with their mascot, which is pretty awesome, and their culture and what they do in the community. But you can catch the full conversation with Jay Wyatt, Dr. Scott Spohr, and Joe Landine in the podcast. The podcast episode will drop later this afternoon, so make sure you're subscribed anywhere you're getting your podcast content. But for now, if you only have a few minutes, here is just a little taste of that conversation for you, so you can take this right back to your business with some ideas.
So let's talk a little bit more about you all and kind of the impact that you want to have, right? So there was a vision in the beginning. You all have been growing gangbusters in the last few years here. A big part of that is how you show up in the community, right? Talk to me a little bit about your vision for your community impact and what you want to do there.
I'm going to let Joe sit in my chair because this is he's the PR guy. So I'm going to get up.
Joe, talk to me about community, brother.
Well, I'll start from prior to me being here. This was me on the outside looking in, knowing nothing about the car wash business. But I fancy myself as knowing a little bit about marketing in the community that I live in. So Jay and I had a conversation. Really wasn't about me coming to work here, but it ended up a conversation about acquisitions, possibly for Mighty Wash, and how that narrative might need to go. So I offered to help him with that. And very soon I was sitting in my seat and I was taking a message that was already here and present, basically just being asked to grow that. So our community investment, it centers around the local school systems and nonprofits. And what we do is simply partner with them in an engagement type situation. We have Mighty Max, who is the face of our company. He's a mascot, and he can go everywhere humans cannot. School systems. We've been in daycare centers,
Golf tournament.
golf. You name it. He's showed up and participated. He's especially a factor when it comes to July 4th parades and Halloween and fall festivals. He's invited everywhere, and the benefit to us there is that most of those things don't cost us anything. They just cost the opportunity to be there in a personal way. And so in engaging with those school systems and those nonprofits, we also sponsor some of their events, but we've become kind of a local favorite. And really it's the best form of marketing that we can possibly do in our communities, because when we do engage with those that we support, they tend to give that back to us by visiting us at our washes.
Joe,
we have a.
Do you put on the mascot? Are you the mascot?
I do not, but we have a lot of young folks that are eager to be recruited, and we also pay them to do it. So.
Okay.
It works out for them.
Is it employees or is it other people in the community doing your mascot work?
Well, it is employees and one former employee who just loved to be Mighty Max.
That's funny.
And in every situation I have an opportunity to hire him, I do, because he's the ultimate mascot.
Because he loves it.
He loves it. And I'll tell you a great story is that we sponsor a local high school district, and we have a signage on the football field. And so when they record the games, we seem to just be on TV the whole time. But Mighty Max shows up for a presentation that they do as part of our sponsorship. Well, Max shows up, and we didn't know what the reaction would be, but he found himself leading the marching band. And the entire student body chanting "Mighty Max, Mighty Max," and that is exactly what I was hoping would happen. But you have to let it. You got to let it happen organically. It just has to happen, and it did. And so now, wherever he shows up, we seem to get that reaction. The police officers, the people working the games, the students, the faculties. Everybody wants a photograph with Max. So we do that in hopes that those young people that are there right now, they're going to be driving 4 and 5 years from now. We want them to come hang out with us because we hung out with them when they were the ones in the spotlight. That's
so funny. There is real value in mascots, friends. If you don't have one, maybe you should get one. That's the moral of this story. But something else came out of what you were just telling me there, Joe, and I don't know who's best to speak on this, but I think it comes back to a little bit of company culture, right? Because you've created this environment where people who move on from the organization still want to be connected. They still want to be part of it. What is it? Yeah. What is it that you all are doing that's creating that? How are you making that happen?
Well, I'll tell you, one of the things that we do is, yes, we hire a lot of young people that are working in our high schools. We hope that they go on to local colleges, and while they're there, they're working for us. And so we present them with an opportunity to have a tuition reimbursement from Mighty Wash, which in a lot of cases is about $2,000 a semester for for these folks that are working for us. And it becomes a really good recruiting tool for us because we can share those stories, and they can also help us share those stories. We run a TV spot that is just about recruiting high school and college students, and that's who's doing the recruiting, not us. But we hope to create an environment where the experience for them was such that other young people can see it and say, hey, that might be a great place for me to work while I go to school. Mm-hmm. And those things are proving to be true for us. Just an example is during COVID, we had a young lady come up with an idea at one of our locations to have a graduation for all of the graduates at her site
that work there.
And so we had a ceremony. It involved graduation music, diplomas, the whole 9 yards, just like they would have had they been at their respective school. So we had about 6 different schools represented in a couple of colleges at the graduation. And we had photos of them flipping up their tassels and celebrating a graduation that they couldn't have at their schools.
Joe, that's a great story. And like the amount of things that can happen at the wash never cease to amaze me. So you guys are doing graduation ceremonies. There's other washes who have done weddings at the wash.
All right, so that is just a little bit of that conversation. If you guys want to catch the rest of it, hear more from Jay Wyatt, Dr. Scott Sport, and Joe Landine from Mighty Wash about how they're approaching their growth, how they're making a difference in their community, some of the other things that they're doing from a talent and operational perspective. You can check that out at Car Wash the Podcast, wherever you are consuming your podcast content. If you guys have mascots that you need to share with us, please do that. I love a good mascot. Nothing beats seeing what you all come up with in that regard, because I know this bunch is a creative bunch. I've seen some things. So if you also want to hear some more about what we see happen in car washes, you got to check out previous episodes. You can do that at carwashmagazine.com. And friends, I've just got one thing left for you. As you're out there this week and you're killing it washing cars, no matter what the weather is like, it's freezing cold here in Minneapolis today. But when you're out there and you're killing it, keep it clean.